Hey there, happy isolation, everyone. It's Don Ross here. Pardon my studio hair. I'm not really all gussied up at all for this. I just had this sort of last minute idea to make this little video for you, just to show you what I've been up to while I've been in isolation. Anyway, basically, I was in 2 weeks of complete self-isolation after I got back from an aborted tour of the US. I got as far as Massachusetts. Actually, I got as far as New York City. And then I realized after listening to my wife and listening to the news that it was a bad idea to be on the road, and it would be a really bad idea to get on the plane to Texas. So I turned the car around and drove all the way back to Nova Scotia. So that was no fun, but it was nice to get home and feel safe, that's for sure. And hey, still healthy, that's good. I'm avoiding everyone, that's good. But the cool thing is I've got lots to do while I'm home. I'm studying this year. I'm doing a master's degree through the University of Chichester in the UK, doing it online through a company called ThinkSpace, which is amazing. It's run by a really fantastic film composer named Guy Mitchell-Moore. Anyway, so I'm doing an MA in music composition for film, television, and games. And I just thought I'd show you this cool thing. It just takes a minute. It's what I've been up to these days. One of my big projects I have to do right now, it's a big piece of homework, is I have to achieve a very realistic sounding, what's called a mock-up of the Prelude from Psycho, the Hitchcock film. This was music from 1960. It was written by a guy named Bernard Herrmann. And he was known as one of the great writers for strings in Hollywood. So this is kind of an amazing score. It's very iconic. If you know the film, if you know the score, you know this piece already. I've got the first 96 bars done. So I'll show you my setup really quickly here. So I've posted a couple of photographs of the inside of my studio on Facebook before, but there's lots of screens set up. There's a reason for that. Anyway, the computer that I'm using most of the time is this MacBook laptop. It's a MacBook Pro. And anyway, lovely computer, but what I'm doing, of course, can't be done just on one computer. There's just too much technology involved. So what I did is when I started my program, I souped up an old computer that I had, this Mac Pro from 2010. Believe it or not, they are still pretty up-to-date computers. You can soup them up really nicely. So I upgraded it, pardon the mess, I just had a spill of pens there. I upgraded it to 48 gigs of RAM, and I put 2 new SSD hard drives in there, a terabyte each. And I even put USB 3 into it. So it's a pretty amazing machine now. And it's where all my sound libraries live. So all my orchestral libraries, my choir libraries, all that kind of stuff live on that computer. And I fire them from my laptop. Now the laptop really, doing it this way, you network the computers together and you only have to rely a little bit on the computational power of the laptop. You're relying an awful lot on the big old computer on the floor to do most of the heavy lifting. And what I'm doing here is I'm in my digital audio workstation, which is Pro Tools. I've been using Pro Tools for a long time. And you can see it's just a bunch of MIDI information there on the various tracks. I've been slowly inputting all the parts of this crazy score. And this score is kind of amazing. It goes by really quickly. The tempo marking it is like 160, which is crazy fast. It's in 2/4 time, so each bar goes by like in a blink of an eye. And it's written for string orchestra, so it's 2 violins, violas, cellos, and basses. And I've had a lot of experience in the last couple of years arranging for that particular setup, so that's cool. The sound libraries I'm using are, are the Heaviosity Novo strings, which sound really great. And it's a new library. The strings are close mic'd and sound really cool. So I'm gonna play this for you. So here's this piece of music, and the first bit of it, I've got about 2/3 of it done so far. So this is what my homework I've been working on lately. I need all the time I can get to get it finished because it takes a long time to get done. But here I'm going to press play, and you'll get to hear the part of the Prelude from Psycho here playing out of my computer. Here we go. There, so that's as far as I've gotten done. Pretty awesome sounding. So what those are, of course, they're actual players that have been recorded in a recording studio in Hollywood. And then they've had every possible articulation that their instruments can make recorded in the studio. And so you can, by means of a MIDI keyboard like this one, you can trigger all those sounds through your digital audio workstation, and you can render a score like that into a performance, and it sounds pretty realistic. It's incredible. That other screen up there that's sort of goofing around there, see, I have both a trackpad for my laptop and a mouse for the older computer, and I got that set up so that's actually running. That's the monitor for my Mac Pro that's on the floor there. So that's got a software program on it called Vienna, what's it called? Vienna Ensemble Pro. So that is the networking software between my two computers that makes one drive the other. So I thought you'd like to see what I'm doing. Happy isolation. Be well, stay safe and healthy. Okay, talk soon.